What's going on, people? My name is Antoine, this is ATM Tech and welcome to the channel. So a couple of weeks ago, Apple announced its new iPad Pro with the M1 chipset. Now, if you don't already know about the M1 chip, the M1 is Apple's own in-house produced processor. For the last 15 years or so, Apple have been using Intel processors in all their computers, but there were a lot of rumors that Apple were eventually going to drop Intel in favor of their own chipsets, and last year at an Apple event, they announced that they finally were going to do so, and they introduced the Apple M1. Now, it's still early days, but the M1 is definitely proving itself to be a real powerhouse. The M1 chip is massively outperforming its Intel and Ryzen counterparts, and it's not even close. So while Apple have always produced their own chips for their iPads, this is the first time they're using the same chip from their computers in one of their iPads. Now, when it comes to processing power, iPads have been blowing away their competition for years. It's not even close. And there's even been some generations of iPad Pro that have benchmarked higher than MacBook Pros. So it's fair to say Apple's iPad Pro has never really been lacking in power. So it kind of got me thinking, why did Apple put the M1 into the iPad Pro? As I said, iPad have been blowing away their competition for years. And when it comes to the apps available on iPadOS, it's really hard to push an iPad to its limit. Editing raw photos in Lightroom has always been a breeze. iOS games have never been a problem, and the closest you'll ever get to taxing an iPad Pro is doing some video editing with some heavy 4K files. And even then, if you're working with big 4K files, an iPad Pro probably isn't your main machine. It's more than adequate when you're on the go, but as I said, if you're serious about video, the iPad Pro probably isn't your main editing machine, nor should it be. Now, with as powerful as iPads are, its Achilles heel has always been its operating system, iPadOS. The fact that the new iPad Pro has the same processor as a MacBook Pro means theoretically that it could run macOS. But will Apple ever put macOS on the iPads? Probably not. With the iPad Pro, once you bump up the memory, add the Magic Keyboard and an Apple Pencil, you're looking at well over £1,500 or dollars, which is way more than what you'd pay for an equivalent MacBook Pro or even a MacBook Air. Personally, I just don't see the point in having an iPad Pro that powerful, especially when you consider the price of the equivalent devices. I can almost guarantee anyone that's going from a 2019 or 2020 iPad Pro up to an M1 iPad Pro are not going to see any difference whatsoever, especially when iPad apps are just stripped down versions of proper software. To me, having the M1 chip in the iPad Pro is kind of like putting a V12 in a 97 Honda Civic. Yeah, it's something cool to tell your friends, but at the end of the day, you gotta stick to the speed limit. Now, as a smaller tech YouTuber, I haven't been fortunate enough to be blessed with a review unit of the iPad Pro. So as a regular person, just like you or I'm gonna say skip the 2021 iPad Pro. Get yourself a deal on the 2020 model or even the 2019 model. It will still be more powerful than any Android tablet out there. Now, the screen on the iPad Pro looks pretty cool. It uses mini LED technology, but I don't have the iPad, so I'm not gonna speculate. Yeah, but that's enough of me rambling. Let me know what your thoughts are on the new iPad Pro with the M1 chip. Would you buy? Do you think it's worth it? Or do you think it's just a bit of a waste of time? As I said, let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, my name is Antoine, this is ATM Tech, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.